Hello and welcome to the old Fliers. One of our recent videos, Celebrities Who Are Pilots, has had over 329,000 hits. I asked viewers to comment if I had missed out any pilot who was a celebrity. 468 people volunteered with names. From that, I produced a second video to include many of those so named. For me, the one celebrity who is a pilot with an awesome resume is Bruce Dickinson. Ever heard of the band Iron Maiden? No, I hadn't either. This is a heavy metal band formed in working class East London in 1975. Bruce Dickinson joined Iron Maiden in 1981. He left in 1993 to rejoin in 1999 and is there up to the present. Iron Maiden have toured the world constantly, and it is Bruce Dickinson who piloted their aircraft on many of those occasions. But to go back to the beginning, Bruce has loved aviation since he was a boy. The path to the pilot seat was not an easy way for him. Two of his relatives were in the RAF, but there was no parental interest, and at school Bruce was, in his own words, utterly useless at physics and maths. He failed to get into the Air Cadets and ended up, despite an aversion for things that walked, in the Army Cadets. There, he had access to the Cadets Link trainer and spent hours teaching himself to fly the thing on his own. He unwittingly picked up the basics of instrument flying. His first exposure to aviation came with a flight from Jersey with Iron Maiden drummer Nico McBrain, who was learning to fly in a PA-28 Cherokee 140. Nico's instructor Charlie was accompanying them in the heavily laden Piper. Bruce said, "We all had to lean forward when he boarded the aircraft to stop the thing falling on its tail, and once we got off the ground, it was straight into a solid overcast." He didn't really start learning to fly in earnest until the early 1990s, when he was staying in Kissimmee in Florida and had a $30 trial lesson. He undertook further PPL training in Ardmore, New Zealand in a Cessna 150 Aerobat and at Leavesden in England. Progressing through ratings, his first aircraft was a Turbo Aztec E. Despite feeling that the ATPL is not a way of imparting knowledge but a barrier to entry, he had gained a flight instructor rating in the USA and converted onto tail draggers. He studied theory at Bristol Ground School, then pursued a career in commercial aviation when he broke with Iron Maiden in 1993. When he rejoined Iron Maiden in 1999, he kept his multi-engine flying current, flying a Cessna 421 he bought in Santa Monica for $225,000. He said, "I loved it. You could cruise all day at 220 knots at 20,000 feet, but it would crack its engine cylinders in a heartbeat if you ignored throttling back for descent." Bruce's early days of commercial flying were right-hand seats on types like Air Atlantique's Twin Pioneer. The entry to passenger jet operations came when a commercial pilot friend invited Bruce to share some simulator time. When Bruce's ability became apparent, he was invited by the training captain present to join British World Airlines with the question, "What are you doing Monday?" While employed by BWA, he flew 20 sectors for parent airline British Airways. BWA was a casualty of post-9/11, Bruce moving on to Australis, where he flew Boeing 737s before converting onto his favourite jet, the 757. "It's the airliner equivalent of the Jaguar XK8, he said. Bruce said that every CPL course should include at least 5 hours of aerobatic flight and training. Newer pilots spend much of their training time in simulators and do not have the flying skill finesse to appreciate sometimes what's happening to their aircraft. Take the Air France AF447 incident when an Airbus A330 was lost over the South Atlantic. It may be speculation, but Bruce believed that if those guys had a better grasp of aircraft handling, honed with some practical aerobatic flying, they may just have had the awareness and skill to save that aircraft. It made logistical sense for Bruce to charter one of the company's jets converted to passenger/cargo configuration to fly the band across continents on tour rather than use the usual fleet of coaches and trucks. The sight of the Australis Boeing 757-200 with Iron Maiden's title along the fuselage for the band's Somewhere Back in Time World Tour was also some of the best advertising the band has ever received. A film called Flight 666 has been made of the Somewhere Back in Time World Tour, which took place between February and March 2008. During this leg of the tour, the group travelled 50,000 miles, encompassing India, Australia, North and South America in just 45 days, performing 23 shows in 13 countries to 500,000 fans. To achieve this, the band travelled in their own Boeing 757, nicknamed Ed Force One, after the band's mascot Eddie, and in the style of the US President's Air Force One. The specially converted 757 Ed Force One carried the band, their crew and 12 tons of equipment.
And we just join them up and we go bum 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 bum. Yes we can, because we've got our own magic carpet.
The idea of specially modifying a plane to take the band, 70 crew, and over 12 tons of equipment has never been attempted before. This could be the most ambitious tour in rock history, and everyone seems a little nervous to see if they can pull it off.
So when you're going around the world and you're trying to combine passenger and freight on the same plane, on that level, it's very, very hard. We knew what we had to do. We had to get the engineers involved to make sure the plane could stand that stress of flying with that much freight in the back. To get all of that together took a year. Everything else was in place. We'd got the visas, we'd got the equipment, we'd got everything. The only thing we hadn't got was the authorization to fly the plane.
I was the nut in the nutcracker, as it were, because when it came to that morning and we still hadn't signed off on the bits of paper we needed to get the airplane airborne, I was in a stressful place.
The aircraft was largely piloted by the band's lead singer Bruce Dickinson, who was then employed by Australis Airlines. According to Dickinson, who came up with the idea Ed Force One, it meant they could visit countries where the bean counter said it's just not worth going, and allowed them to do an almost European type itinerary but on an intercontinental basis. The aircraft was flown under the call sign 666, a reference to their 1982 single The Number of the Beast. Bruce takes an enormous pleasure in flying some of the olden piston airliners such as the Douglas DC-3, DC-6 and the Lockheed Constellation.
What can I say? You know, it's a DC-3 and it's a real good one, you know, and she flies really very nice, you know, nice and stable and everything. And I mean, look, there's no oil on the outside of it, you know, what did you do?
He said, "This is why I fell in love with the TV series Ice Pilots and went to Canada and flew with Buffalo Airways at Yellowknife." Bruce pointed to the two orange Canadair Bombardier CL-215s sitting on the ramp opposite the Cardiff Aviation hangars. It was from my contacts with Buffalo Airways that I got the contract to fly one of those water bombers back from Turkey at the end of the 2012 firefighting season. For the 2016 The Book of Souls World Tour, the band upgraded to a Boeing 747-400 jumbo jet, which meant that Dickinson had to undertake type conversion to fly the aircraft.
The first time I've seen this big boy. Whoa! So, coming at you, Fort Lauderdale on all points in between as of now.
Due to copyright restrictions, I can't play any of Iron Maiden's music, but you can find that on YouTube easily enough. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the story about this talented man. Please like and subscribe, and donations to support our channel always welcome.